Welcome to Vow Glow with Pastor J. As always, my name is Juliana Anake Ugu, and this is a conversation on before and after the vow. We are talking about issues before the wedding and after the wedding. While a wedding is an event, a marriage is a lifelong journey. So we talk about issues and situations that could make or mar a marriage. Today, I want us to look at personality disorders and childhood. That is parenting. You see, personality disorders are disorders that have been talked about, everywhere. People talk about, especially the narcissistic personality disorder, all over social media, in a lot of different forums. You hear people talk about this personality disorder and other personality disorders. But the question I want us to ask today is, what is the origin of personality disorders? How does it start? Now, while there is no particular way in which personality disorders start, sometimes some of the things that people exhibit in adulthood, some of the disorders that affect people's marriages and relationships, that affects people's reaction and world's view, actually begin from childhood. Now, this is what I am talking about. As a child growing up, we all know that children, as they grow, they experiment, they learn. There is a reason why God made it in such a way that a child is born into a family of adults and is raised in that family to become an adult. So the child learns certain things. The child is taught to do certain things. That is, a human being, every human being needs a restraining force, a force of restraint. As adults, God is our force of restraint. But in children, parents and adults are their force of restraint. That is why a parent is supposed to oversee the development of a child. So a parent is there to tell the child, do not do this, you cannot do this, you have to do this, you should do this. I'm talking about age-appropriate instructions, rules, and directions. As a child is growing, it comes to a point where you want to take the child to the toilet, to the restroom to ease themselves, to ease himself or herself, or you tell the child, do not do this, you cannot sit here, you cannot ease yourself here, you cannot wee on yourself, you shouldn't wee on yourself. When you are pressed, you get up and you go here. It gets to a time where you tell the child, when you're done eating, take your plates to the kitchen or to the sink. It gets to a time when you tell the child, beyond taking your plates to the kitchen, wash the plates. So a child is raised, is trained, is instructed as they grow. So we are expected as parents to set boundaries for children as they grow. So we mete out age-appropriate discipline and enforcement around the child for rules broken, for instructions not carried out, for disobedience, letting the child know that there are consequences for actions and inactions. Now, this is where some parents get it wrong. In a home where a child is growing up and the child is given to throwing tantrums, the child throws tantrums at the slightest provocation. A little child, you take a toy from the child, or you say you cannot use this. This is not a toy. Say, for instance, a child picks a kitchen knife and you take the kitchen knife away from the child because the child could hurt himself or herself with it, and the child just goes overboard, throws himself or herself on the ground and begin to cry and begin to shout. Some children do in such a way that you must bring that particular item that was taken away, otherwise they won't stop. Now, while it is okay to pacify a baby, a toddler, a little child, there comes a time in a child's age where such actions should not be handled with kid gloves. When a child of 5 is told, do not do this, and the child takes himself or herself up and hits on the ground and begins to cry, thereby blackmailing the parents emotionally, and begin to cry. So you tell the child, don't stop, or stop, or don't do it, or stand up, or something, and the child refuses. The child keeps crying. Some children could begin to throw things. They carry an item and they throw it away. Or you do something that the child does not like, the child could carry something and throw at another person. Sometimes you find some other children, they go beating the older ones, like a 4-year-old going to his 6-year-old brother or sister and hits the person so hard and all of that. And the parents, instead of cautioning the younger child and saying you should not, you cannot, you must not hit your brother or your sister. You're not supposed to hit anybody. Much as your brother shouldn't hit you, you shouldn't hit your brother too. But sometimes we find ourselves over indulging these young children. You find parents begging the child, sorry, okay, sorry, all right, stop, okay, do not do this. Oh, sorry, you want this, all right, you can have it. And so the child picks up whatever item it is the child wants and walks away. And if you do not give the child the thing the child is requesting for or desiring, there will be no peace. The child will cry, the child will throw tantrums, the child will probably begin to destroy things. And the parents go pampering the child, indulging the child, begging the child, and making the child believe that he or she is right. When a child does that consistently, and the child is not watched and restrained, where a parent watches and notices that the child has this kind of impulsivity or some kind of unrestrained anger or some kind of behavior where the child behaves somehow out of the ordinary, and the parents, like, the only way to pacify that child is to agree with the child and let the child continue with whatever he or she was doing, or give the child whatever the child needs. It is the only way to pacify the child. There is no rule, there is no regulation, there is no boundaries, and the child grows up like that. Sometimes children who grow up like that grow up with a sense of distorted self-image, with some kind of distorted self-image, with some kind of entitled mentality, such that they begin to feel that the world revolves around them. So that a child grows up and gets to a community where if you say anything contrary to what he or she wants, that means you do not love. So the child grows up to begin to interpret love to mean that it is his or her way or no other way. The child interprets love to mean that I can hit you, but you can't hit me. You are not permitted to hit me, but I am permitted to hit you. That to the child means they are loved. Or where a child feels that it is what they want that must stand. If it is not the way they want it, then it is not good. Then it is not acceptable to them. And the only way for them to know or to measure that they are loved means that they must have their way at all times, and that things must be done the way they want at all times, and that they are free to do as they want, but the other person cannot do as they want. So that person grows up with that kind of distorted self-image and then gets into a relationship. So you find where a man or a woman hits their partner, and they believe that if their partner loves them, then their partner should tolerate that hitting and not react or not respond or be okay with it. Or that when they have finished hitting you, things can just go back to being the way they were. No, life can just go back to normal. Everything will be fine. So the other person is not supposed to complain, or person is not supposed to react, respond, and the person is not even permitted to be angry. And when you get angry, to them it is interpreted that you do not love them. Why should you get angry with them? Nobody has the right to hit another person, whether it is a man or a woman. My son cannot hit a woman. He is told not to hit a woman, but he is also told not to let a woman hit him. So if as a woman thinks because she's a woman, she hits my son, he is told to hit her right back. In fact, to hit her so hard that she will be too scared to try it another day. What am I saying? I am saying that children should be raised in such a way that from childhood, personality disorders are not built in them unconsciously, because it is not a normal situation where a person has an entitlement mentality, or a person has a distorted self-image where the person believes that he or she is better than other people. So he or she should be revered and worshipped, or he or she must not be talked back to, or should not be opposed. Everything he or she wants must be done the way they want it, otherwise it means you do not love them. Where a person says, I was crying, and you did not even say anything, that means you do not love me. That's a distortion of reality, because the fact that you are crying does not, and the other person didn't react, doesn't mean the person does not love you. Probably it's because the person does not see any reason why you're crying. You're just crying because you want to cry, or the person is tired of seeing you cry for no reason. So the person gets to a point where they do not react or respond anymore to this crying and throwing of tantrums, and the person reads that or interprets that as lack of love. Or where a person says that I am having headache and it is because of what you have done, and the person says what you did is actually giving me headache. So she's not concerned about the fact that what she has done has caused headache to her spouse. She's only concerned about the fact that the reaction is giving her headache. So the spouse's headache is nothing. It is only her own headache that is something that should be recognized and should be tolerated. That's a distortion of reality. Now, that child may have grown up from childhood in a home where he or she was tolerated. He or she was made to believe that what he or she wants is the only thing that should stand. Nobody set boundaries for him or her. Nobody gave him rules or gave her rules. Nobody told him or told her what to do and what not to do, what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. What I am saying in essence is, as we raise children, let's watch our children and begin to give set age-appropriate boundaries for the child, and let the child know that as they are growing up, they are going out into the society, and that everybody in society counts, and that everybody's feelings matter, and that everybody is a human being, and that we at all times need to shift ground for each other. It cannot be what you want at all times, every time. You need to shift ground and listen to what the other person is saying. If hitting you is wrong, hitting the other person is also wrong. That you cannot just say every argument, once a person opposes you, you go for attack. Once a person says do not do that, you are attacking the person, you're hitting the person. Because while you were a child, you would hit people and your parents would say, leave him, oh, leave her, oh, don't, she's just a child. It's because she's a, give it to your younger brother. Oh, he's just your younger brother. Or she's just, don't you know she's a woman? Why would you respond to a woman insulting you? Or why would you respond to a woman hitting you? She's just a woman. Your hand and her hand is not the same. Your hand is stronger than her hand. So if she hits you, do not respond. And so when the woman grows up thinking that it is her place to hit other people because her hand is not strong enough. And when the other person hits her, it becomes domestic abuse. But when she hits the other person, it is nothing. But when she hits the other person, it is nothing. Hitting her is violence, domestic violence, physical abuse. But she can hit someone else, and then she will interpret it to mean that she is the weaker vessel. Her hand is soft. You cannot compare a punch from her with a punch from a man. Whether a punch is from a man or it is from a woman, a punch is a punch. So while we are raising our children, we should let them know that there is a golden rule where you do unto others what you want them to do unto you, where you respect people and then they will respect you in return. That is, respect is reciprocal. Where you treat people nicely, where you have to be kind to get kindness, where they understand that one person is not superior to another person. Now, if a child is growing up and we notice some of those things in the child, we should from childhood begin to instruct the child, speak to the child, lovingly discipline the child, and cause the child to come to the realization that certain actions are not tolerated. They are not going to be accepted just because you are one gender, or because you come from this family, or because it is you. It is not going to always be tolerated. So you can't keep running all over people. You can't keep trampling on other people. You can't keep disrespecting other people and thinking it is okay. And when the person tries to respond, you feel that it is because they do not love you. And if somebody loves you, they must take all of those things that you're doing to them. They must take all of your shenanigans and not bother or not complain. Because if they complain, that means they do not love you enough. That is a disorder. It is not a normal behavior. So if you notice that kind of thing in your child, the time to begin to address that situation is from childhood, where you let the child know, where the child is instructed to understand. You cannot destroy property because you are upset. You do not destroy things because you're upset. You give a child food, and because the child is upset, the child just wakes up and throws away the food. The child lifts up a chair and slams it. Or the child takes a toy and throws at another person. The child picks something in the house and throws it, destroys things in the house in the name of being a child. And we are excusing it as a child. That is raising a personality disorder that will manifest in future. So, in as much as children grow, their behaviors change, they outgrow some things, we should be intentional. So if you're watching your children as they are growing up and you notice that a particular child is given to certain things that are very, very abnormal. In African setting, in some African myths, we give them names. In Nigeria, in some parts of Nigeria, they call it Ogbanje. It is not Ogbanje. It is a personality disorder. It has to be recognized at that stage and appropriate measures put in place to ensure that that child does not grow up with that thing. And if it gets to the extreme, the child could be taken to see a professional, for children's care, professional for children, so that the child is given the appropriate care. But as in training, upbringing, grooming, and raising, let's watch our children and ensure that this irrational behavior, impulsivity, is checked and treated and handled as a child grows, so that the child grows up into the society knowing what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, what is permissible and what is not permissible, what is allowed and appropriate and what is not appropriate, knowing that every human being is a human being. Nobody is more special than another. Nobody is superior to another. Every human being is entitled to the fundamental human rights. So they should understand that and treat people as such. Some parents even tolerate their children hitting them. So a child is upset with the mother, and a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old slaps his mother or slaps an adult, and probably people just laugh over it, or the mother just beg the child. I witnessed a situation where in church, somebody's child, at the time this incident happened, she was above 5, and the mother tried to caution her, and she dropped on the ground and was trying to cry. Just because it was church, the woman was apologizing to the girl and saying, sorry, it will never happen again. Oh, the therapist in me came to the fore, and I told the woman, never ever do this. Never tell this child that it will never happen again. The child just misbehaved and you cautioned her, which is the appropriate thing to do. She is in church and she shouldn't do what she was doing, and what you did was right. Do not tell her that it will never happen again. Why would you tell your child that cautioning her will never happen again? And I am glad she took that correction that day. But I know that this is things that a lot of us as parents do. Because you do not want the child to probably fall on the ground. You are outside, or you are this one, or the child is this one. And so you are tolerating inappropriate behavior from a child instead of cautioning the child and insisting and instilling discipline on the child. This is not talking about child abuse. This is talking about age-appropriate discipline, instilling age-appropriate discipline in a child and letting the child grow with the right morals and the right upbringing and the right mindset, so that the child does not grow up and begin to have abnormal behavior in adulthood. So, personality disorders can be spotted in childhood and resolved and handled and managed or treated, so to say. Change. The child could have a CBT from the parent, a cognitive behavioral therapy, where the parents will teach the child proper behavior, acceptable, societal, normal human behavior as a child grows up. So that as the child grows up, the child has the understanding that behaving like this is abnormal, is inappropriate. I don't go behaving like this. So that we do not have adults where everybody is complaining about personality disorders and we do not know where it started from or how it happened. Sometimes we do not, we even wave them away, but it had been there all the while. We just couldn't see it. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Drop a comment. Remember, it's a conversation. Put your thoughts in the comment section and let me know what you think. See you again next time.